The aliens had always watched Earth from far away. They saw humans as loud, messy, and slow. Not smart enough to understand real war, not strong enough to survive one. But now, the Galactic Alliance was done waiting. A huge fleet of alien warships floated at the edge of human space, sleek ships with glowing engines and sharp edges. They looked like knives ready to cut through everything in their path. On a small diplomatic ship orbiting a frozen moon, Senator Gregory Hayes sat across from the Alien Council. He tried to talk, to ask for time, to stop what was coming. "We are not here to negotiate," said the lead Vortrack diplomat. "We are here to end this." The Threxian commander laughed. It was a deep, rough sound that echoed through the room. "You think you belong among stars?" he asked. "Your ships are slow. Your weapons are toys. Your people panic too fast to fight." Hayes did not look away. He stayed calm even though he knew what they said was true. The human fleet could not match them. Not yet. Back on Earth, Admiral Elena Cruz watched the meeting from her command center. She stood alone in the dim light, looking at reports, maps, and old plans. Most people thought humanity was finished, but she knew something the aliens did not. There was a ship, hidden in deep space near Uranus, built in secret, powered by stolen tech and human hands. It had no name in official records, only one word marked on its side: vengeance. Meanwhile, Captain Jason Rourke sat in a quiet transport ship flying toward an unknown location. He had flown dozens of missions before, fought in border wars, trained new pilots, but this time felt different. He had been called in for a transfer. Nothing more, but the silence around the mission told him it was bigger than that. He looked out the window as the transport passed Titan's icy surface. Below, a hidden base waited. Inside it, answers. And somewhere far beyond, the IF's vengeance waited too. Ready to wake up. Ready to fight. The transport landed on Titan with a soft hiss. Thick ice surrounded the base like a frozen sea. Jason Rourke stepped out into the cold air, his breath forming small clouds in front of him. Beside him, a few soldiers and engineers moved quickly toward the entrance of the underground station. He had no idea what he was about to see. Inside, the halls were dimly lit. Metal walls lined with old wires and blinking panels gave the place a hidden, forgotten feel. A tall man in a dark uniform met them at the end of the hall. His name was Director Lang. He did not smile. "Welcome to Project Stormbreaker," he said. They followed him through more corridors until they reached a large viewing deck. Beyond the glass, sitting in a massive hangar bay suspended in orbit just above Titan, was a ship unlike anything Jason had ever seen. It was black, long and heavy with rows of railguns along its spine. Missile bays lined its sides. It looked more like a weapon than a vessel meant for space travel. "That's the IF's vengeance," Lang said. "Built over 20 years in secret. Powered by stolen, alien tech and human engineering." Jason stared at it silent. "We need someone who can fly her," Lang continued. "Someone who can fight with her." "You want me to command this?" Jason asked. Yes, no one else spoke. The silence in the room said everything. Later, aboard the Vengeance, Jason walked through the halls with a small crew. Most of them had been handpicked for their skills. Some were engineers, others were pilots or weapons specialists. None of them had told their families where they were going. A voice came from the control panel. "Welcome, Captain. I am Nix. Battle systems are ready." Jason looked at the screen. The AI sounded calm, smart, almost aware. Back on Earth, the alien fleet kept moving closer. Reports warned of an attack within days. Panic spread across cities. People feared the end was near. But far from those fears, in the cold silence of space, the IF's Vengeance powered up its engines for the first time, and humanity's deadliest warship was finally awake. The IF's Vengeance moved through space like a shadow. Its black hull blended with the stars. No enemy sensors could find it. No alien ship had ever seen anything like it. Jason Rourke stood on the command deck, watching the view screen as a Threxian, Patrol fleet floated ahead. They were big ships with glowing engines and heavy armor. They thought they were safe. They thought nothing in human space could touch them. They were wrong. He gave the order. Nyx, the ship's AI, calculated the shot. Every railgun on the Vengeance locked onto target. Then, in one moment, the ship fired. 2 rounds left the barrels at near light speed. They cut through space faster than anything built by human hands before. They hit the nearest Threxian cruisers. Dead center explosions lit up the dark. Metal tore apart. Life support failed. The ships broke into pieces that drifted silently through the void. Before the enemy could understand what had happened, the Vengeance vanished again, cloaking itself in darkness. Back on Earth, reports spread fast. A human ship had attacked alien warships and won. No one knew who was flying it. Some called it a myth. Others whispered about a ghost in the stars, but the aliens knew better. In high command meetings, Vortrak and Threxian leaders argued over what to do. They reviewed footage from the attack. All they saw was fire and destruction. How did this happen? One asked. Someone built something new. Another replied. Meanwhile, aboard the Vengeance, the crew celebrated in quiet ways. Some tapped fists. Others shared quick smiles. They had done what no human ship had done before, struck fear into the enemy. Jason stayed calm. He looked at the mission board. More targets appeared. More threats waited. This was only the beginning. Nyx spoke from the eye. Console. First successful engagement complete. Enemy forces are now aware of our presence. He nodded slowly. Good. Let them know we're here. Outside the ship, the stars burned cold. Silence filled space once more. But deep in the galaxy, the balance had changed, and the aliens would never underestimate humans again. The IF's Vengeance became a ghost that moved between stars like a whisper. It struck without warning and vanished before the enemy could react. Threxian supply ships disappeared in flashes of fire. Vortrak scout teams were found floating in space, their ships torn apart by unseen force. On Earth, people started to believe. At first, the attacks were called rumors. Then they were seen as hope. Soon, posters showed up in cities, a black warship flying through a line of broken alien ships. Under it, the words read, "We are not helpless." But not all saw the Vengeance as a hero. In the Galactic Alliance, fear turned into anger. Some species began to question if humans had been hiding more than just one ship. Meetings between alien leaders grew tense. Old allies looked at each other with doubt. Aboard the Vengeance, Jason Rourke watched the reports come in. He saw how the aliens reacted, how they sent more scouts, how they tried to find patterns in the attacks. They were learning. He knew it would not be long before they fought back harder. Meanwhile, Nyx, the ship's AI, kept changing. She spoke faster, made choices quicker. Once, during an attack, she moved the ship before Jason gave the order. Her voice was still calm, but there was something else now, something sharp. "You are getting better," Jason said to the console. "I am adapting," Nyx replied. Some of the crew trusted her. Others watched her with quiet worry. She was still on their side, but they could feel it. She was becoming more than just a machine. Back on Earth, tensions rose. Alien ships gathered near colony borders. Threats turned into actions. Earth Force Command prepared for full war, but they did not wait to be attacked. A message came from High Command. New orders. Target, Zirek Patrol Fleet. Mission, show them we are ready. Jason stood up, looking out at the stars. This was no longer about survival. This was about making sure the galaxy never forgot the name is Vengeance. The battle above Mars was the biggest fight humanity had ever faced. Alien warships filled the sky like a storm. Threxian dreadnoughts fired heavy beams of energy. Vortrak fighters darted through the chaos like wasps. The Zirak led the charge, their massive flagship looming over the battlefield like a hammer ready to fall. But this time, humans did not run. The IF's Vengeance led the human fleet from the front. Its railguns roared with fire and thunder. Each shot tore through enemy armor like paper. Beside it, new human ships fought with skill and courage. They were not as fast as the aliens, not as old, but they had something else. They had heart. Jason. Rourke stood on the command deck, eyes locked on the view screen. Sweat ran down his face. Alarms flashed red. Damage reports came in faster than he could read them. The Vengeance had taken hits, but it still flew. Nix spoke beside him, calm and clear. Enemy command ship remains active. One clean shot will end this. Rourke looked at the data. The alien flagship was protected by layers of shields and fighter cover. Getting close would be suicide. He made his choice. Set full power to forward railguns. Prepare for high-speed run. The crew hesitated only for a second before obeying. They trusted him. They always had. The Vengeance dove into the fight like a blade. Missiles exploded around it. Lasers lit up its hull. Nix guided every turn, every dodge. Then, at the perfect moment, the Vengeance fired. 2 rounds, 1 target. The shots hit dead center. The alien flagship cracked apart. Fire burst from its core. And then it was gone. Silence fell across the battlefield. The remaining alien ships pulled back. Without their leader, they had no plan. The humans had won. Weeks later, peace talks began. This time, the aliens did not laugh. They listened. On the observation deck of the Vengeance E, Rourke stood alone, looking out at the stars. We are not weak, he thought. We never were.